The dojo smelled of sweat, rubber mats, and ambition. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and Master Darian Cole, third-degree black belt, regional champion, and the undisputed king of Hargrove Martial Arts Academy, had just finished his advanced class when he noticed the new cleaner mopping the floor near the sparring ring. The man was older, perhaps in his mid-50s, with calloused hands, a quiet face, and a faded gray uniform that had seen too many washes. He moved slowly, methodically, with the patience of someone who had learned long ago not to rush life. Darian watched him for a moment, then smirked at his two students who were still stretching by the wall. "Watch this," he whispered loud enough for them to hear. He walked over to the cleaner, arms crossed, chest out, wearing the kind of smile that carries more challenge than warmth. "Hey, old man," he said casually. "You ever seen people spar in here?" The cleaner looked up calmly and nodded once. "Want to try? Just for fun. Light contact. Nothing serious." His students stifled laughter. The cleaner set his mop aside, looked at the ring, then back at Darian, and said quietly, "All right, just for fun." Darian expected hesitation. He expected the man to laugh it off, maybe shake his head and go back to his bucket. He did not expect him to walk directly to the edge of the mat, remove his shoes with practiced ease, and step onto the sparring surface with the effortless familiarity of someone stepping into their own kitchen. Darian followed, rolling his neck, bouncing lightly on his toes, performing for his audience. The cleaner stood still. No bounce, no showmanship, no warm-up ritual, just stillness. Hands loose at his sides, eyes calm and deeply focused. Something about that stillness should have been a warning. It was not. Darian moved first, a fast jab combination, nothing too serious, just enough to test the old man's reaction time. What happened next would replay in his mind for weeks. The cleaner slipped the first punch with a barely visible tilt of his head, redirected the second with an open palm, and in the same breath swept Darian's lead foot so cleanly that Darian found himself on the mat before he even registered. Falling. Silence. His students stared. Darian blinked at the ceiling, then scrambled upright, his face flushing red. "Lucky," he muttered, and came forward again, this time with real intent. He threw his best combination, the same sequence that had won him 3 regional titles. The cleaner read every single movement before it arrived. He moved like water around stone, slipping, redirecting, never meeting force with force. And within 30 seconds, Darian was on the mat a second time, this time with his arm gently but firmly controlled in a lock that he knew, with absolute certainty, could have ended the spar permanently, if the old man had chosen to apply even 20% more pressure. The cleaner released him immediately and stepped back. Still no expression. Still no words. Darian sat up slowly, breathing hard. Not from exhaustion, but from the particular winded feeling of a man whose entire self-image has just been quietly and thoroughly dismantled. He looked at the man properly for the first time. The calloused hands weren't from mopping floors. The quiet patience wasn't from age. The stillness wasn't weakness. "Who are you?" Darian asked, his voice stripped of every ounce of performance. The cleaner picked up a small towel from the edge of the mat and wiped his hands. "My name is Vicente," he said simply. "I taught combatives for the military for 19 years. After my wife passed, I needed something quiet. This job gives me quiet." He said it without pride, without bitterness, without any need to be believed or admired. He simply said it the way a man states a fact about the weather. Darian stood up, walked to the edge of the mat, and did something he had not done in years. He bowed. Not the performative bow of a champion acknowledging a crowd, a real bow. Shoulders down, head low, the kind that costs something. "I owe you an apology, Vicente," he said. "I invited you up here to embarrass you in front of my students." "That was wrong of me." Vicente looked at him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. "I know why you did it," he said. "I was the same way once. A teacher fixed it the same way I just fixed it." He picked up his mop, returned to the far corner of the gym, and continued his work as if nothing had happened. Darian stood in the center of the mat and understood, perhaps for the first time in his decorated career, that the belt around his waist meant far less than the humility he had just been handed for free. That evening, he asked Vicente if he would consider teaching a Saturday class. Vicente thought about it, then said, "I'll think about it." He did, and he said yes. If this story moved something in you, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner Stories, where every story reminds us that greatness often wears the quietest uniform.